Hey guys, Josh here with another video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to waterproof your gloves. I have some Kingle gloves that I just bought. I've worn them one time, and some Hestra leather balm. And yeah, we're just going to go into it. It's always good to make sure that you're putting some water treatment on your leather gloves, unless it's something like deer hide or something like that. Any cow hide, anything like that needs to be waterproofed. Otherwise, they're just going to soak up when you're using them. I go with Kinko because they're relatively inexpensive, and if you waterproof them, they're great work gloves for whatever you're doing outside. And then Hestra is just a top market brand waterproofing balm that you can use. It doesn't recommend to use any heat or anything like that. So I know if you're using like snow seal and stuff like that, I might recommend to use a blow dryer or put it in the oven. With the Hestra, you're just going to be applying it and then letting it dry on itself. One container is going to last for a couple of applications, so it should last at least 2 sets of gloves, it says. And then the only other thing you need is like a piece of cloth. I always use like old shirts and stuff like that when I'm putting leather on anything. And yeah, just small applications at a time, rubbing it into the actual leather itself. And you should know too that when anytime you're putting waterproofing balm onto your gloves, it's going to probably change the color of your gloves a little bit. So these will probably come out a lot darker than they are now. Not a big deal for me, but if it's a big deal for you, make sure you're testing it out on a small space that you can hide. And if you decide that it's something that you don't want to do, then you didn't do it on something that's completely visible. So yeah, so the easiest way to do this is going to be once we get this opened here, you can warm this up a little bit, but I think just rubbing the cloth in it enough is going to be good. And then putting the glove on. When you do this, you want to make sure that you're especially hitting the seams and the stitching, where the water is actually going to probably seep in first. Once you rub this here, like I am, like it's getting pretty liquidy pretty quick, so I don't think there's any need to heat it up or anything like that. And then we're just gonna work this in. If you've ever, if you're familiar with waterproofing leather, or not waterproofing, but putting oil on like leather boots or something like that, this is a lot like that. Just doing small bits at a time, working it into the leather, especially rubbing it into those seams. All right, so I'm almost done here with this first glove, and you can already see how the color is like drastically changed. But I'm just really working. I've now got an even coat over the entire glove. I'm just going through and like the spots where I really know, like if you're working out in the snow or like where it's wet, like I know I'm going to be, that's what I'm focusing on, like the palm, the tips of the fingers, stuff like that. The stuff that I know is going to be coming constantly in contact with like wet, snowy conditions. And then really working the portions where like the stitching is all coming together. Like the thumb is a big one, where the fingers are kind of, you can see where like these 3 fingers are stitched separately. Then like this one's like all for the palm. So just like really working it into the leather, just kind of pushing and twisting while I'm working this in. But yeah, you can see that I haven't used much of this. This was a new can, so like a little does go a long way, which is great, because then you have this for future reapplications, or if you get another set of gloves, if you want to be switching them out or something like that. So yeah, so I'm just going to set this aside to dry and then move on to the right hand. Yeah, so just finishing up the other glove, and I still have a bunch left, actually so much left that I went back and applied more to the first gloves, and now I think I got a pretty good coat across both of them. As you can see from the beginning, like they're significantly darker now, but I can already feel that real waxiness that that you're gonna get from waterproofing them. I think it's fair to mention because I thought of it. So if I'm thinking it, there's probably 1,000 people wondering it. I did not apply any to the fabric. Remember, this is just the leather balm. That's a leather wax. I wasn't applying anything to the fabric. I just hit everything and anything that was leather, even the leather on the wristbands and on the knuckles on the top, and then again hitting everything with the seams and stuff like that. So if this video helped you out, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Recommend it to somebody else who maybe needs to waterproof their gloves and just doesn't know how. If you have leather gloves, you should be waterproofing them. Just because these are getting waterproof doesn't mean that they're bad gloves. It's just exposed leather, and exposed leather needs to be treated just like your cowboy boots or leather boots or whatever you might be wearing out there. So yeah, share this video, check out the other ones, and can't wait to have another video for you guys on some more tools for your toolbox for the outdoors. Thanks for tuning in.